Point one live pre-show to the open announcement. I'm your host, Lauren Kalil, alongside co-host Joel Godett. Today we have a packed lineup of guests. We're getting you pumped and ready for the open announcement in Boulder, Colorado, as we spend the next 45 to 60 minutes kicking off the 2022 CrossFit season. Joel, are you ready? Were you able to sleep last night?
I did sleep, probably not enough. I think I'm at like 55% recovery today. I
Oh
did.
no.
So like everybody gets hyped, like trying to predict the movements and trying to guess the workout. I don't know if they know this though. If you're patient enough, they just tell you the workout. So I'm excited for about an hour and 10 minutes from now when we all find out what it is and then hit the gym tonight.
Yeah, so you're actually going to do your attempt tonight. You're too anxious. You can't even wait till tomorrow.
We're going to try. We'll find out what it is. Like if it's not great, then maybe I'll put it off.
Maybe you'll get one more night of sleep, be higher than 50% recovered, and then get after it.
Anything with a thruster, I'll do it Monday night.
The last possible moment so you can't retest or anything.
This is correct.
So speaking of the open, we're less than an hour away at this point before the live show kicks off, but we're going to be bringing in different guests throughout the next hour or so. And our first guest today, he is a CrossFit legend. He's an OG qualifying to the game since 2012. And until after this past season, he announced his retirement. Please welcome Scott Panchik.
Hey guys, how are you? Happy to be here.
Yeah,
I felt like I should applaud right there. That was the
yeah.
You guys don't have a button that does all the like sound effects?
No, that's what we need, like the horns, the applauds. We have a live studio audience.
We got to steal
how do you feel?
What's that?
How do you feel going into this open? Very different than past seasons for you.
For sure. I feel relaxed and excited all at the same time.
Is there anything specifically you're hoping for?
No, not really. Honestly, year after year, even when I was competing, there wasn't anything that I was never like a wheelhouse kind of athlete. So I was ready for whatever they brought on and I knew it was going to hurt and I was going to make it hurt. And that's all I could control.
So Scott, I know you're doing the open this year. If you say qualify for quarterfinals, will you do it anyway?
Quarterfinals? Yes.
Yeah.
I would sign up for the quarterfinals. I want to.
What if you qualify for the semifinals?
I actually said I would. In a post, I said I was going to take it step by step, and we'll play it day by day. And that's the plan. Is I want to beat as many people as I can. I'm still competitive, and I still do CrossFit, so it's always going to be a part of my life. It's just not the big part of my life anymore.
When you look at your past open announcements, I mean, you've done a couple of different ones, from the first one that CrossFit ever did up until last year. You were throwing down with your brothers. What is it like to actually be a part of the announcement? Like, what are some of the feelings that you get not knowing until we all find out what the workout is?
Yes. So the open announcements are some of my favorite memories for sure. And I would say the like excitement and the like butterflies that you get before the like games, like before you step out on the floor at the games, I would say it's probably equal to or greater than, because at the games, there's 10 athletes on the floor with you, or sometimes 20. Here you are head to head with one other person, all eyes on you. And that's it. It's just such an incredible feeling, and not knowing, like, it's what CrossFit always preaches is like be prepared for the unknown and knowable. And we get out on the floor and it's like, here's the workout. You have like 10 minutes. And I'm like, 10 minutes? I can barely take my thumbs and get my shoes tied in 10 minutes.
Take us back to that first workout in 2013. Like, what was the idea of the idea of not having open announcements is so foreign now, especially after the last couple of years. It's so great to have them back in the form we've become accustomed to. But when this wasn't a thing, like, what was your thought process doing it for the first time and having that experience live?
I just remember, like, this was my huge opportunity to like get my name on the map. I was going against Dan Bailey and he was a household name at the time. And I was this guy that like barely qualified for the games in 2012 and then went and took 4. So this was like a defining moment for me in 2013 when I went head to head with him, where it was like, is this guy really legit? And there was a lot of pressure. I remember I went to get lunch and I was in an area, I don't even remember where it was at, but I was in an area, they gave me a car and I was able to go find, and I was trying to find a place to eat. And I remember going in and eating and coming out, and I like threw up like my lunch right outside of my car. Like I was so nervous. And that was probably like the only time I ever really like got like there's not many workouts that have like made me throw up, or like even events and things that I've done in my whole career that made me feel that way. But that open announcement, I was so nervous because I felt like at the time I put all this pressure on me. It was like a make or break moment for me, at least in my mind, you know, all the pressure we put on ourselves. And I just remember like going back, and then I was so exhausted right before we went out that I like laid down and I took a nap, and I like never do that. So I like took a nap. I'm like not feeling the best during the day. And then I woke up from this nap and I just remember just feeling like someone clicked the refresh button, and I was like, all right, let's go. And I came out, I actually redid that workout a few weeks ago against myself. And I came out so like Dan Bailey came out really fast. I came out really fast as well. And I look at those like moments, especially like in previous opens, where I was just like not an immature athlete, but not seasoned enough to know what the pace is supposed to be. Early on in CrossFit, you just like, you got uncomfortable and you got uncomfortable quick. Nowadays, I'm like, okay, how long can I go just being slightly uncomfortable and then make that push at the end? So it's funny, I've redone that open workout announcement a couple times in my career, and I still have a hard time beating 2014 Scott because he was just a ball of energy and ready to take on the world.
Does
so
old
when
man
you're going to be
Panchik
doing
beat old man Bailey? Like if you guys did that again against each other now,
would I take Dan Bailey?
Would you beat him now if you guys were 2022 Scott and Dan?
I think so, but we might actually get that show. We might actually get that show someday.
I would pay money to see that show.
I'm in the 35 to 39 division, so if you stick around long enough, we might get our shot.
I think we just broke news. Did we break news? I think we broke news.
We did at 2:08 Eastern time.
Listen, Joel, it's day by day, step by step, right here. All right,
touche.
No problem.
Okay, so when are you going to be throwing down for 22.1? Are you doing it tonight? Will you be doing it tomorrow? What's the game plan?
So I've always in the past done them on Friday in the afternoon. That's when I just feel best. I'm coming off a rest day, and I'll probably stick with that plan. I have a few athletes that my brother Spencer's coming out, and Fisa Gaffi's coming out, or she's actually a member and coach at our gym. So she and him will do the workout, and then I'm gonna watch them go at it, and then learn all kinds of things, and then go and back it. They don't know that plan yet, though, so hopefully they're not watching.
Usually they'd be learning it right now.
Usually they make me go first, which will probably end up happening if I'm being honest.
What a fun environment. Scott, I imagine that you're going to be watching the live announcement in less than an hour to see what the workout's going to be.
Absolutely. Can't wait.
Who do we have today? Give me some picks. Not knowing a workout, that's kind of hard, but
who's announcing the workout? Who's going to win?
Okay, so we've diverted.
Ah.
So two questions there. Who announces the workout, and then who wins head to head?
I'm saying Boz is gonna announce the workout. That would be my guess. Mm-hmm. And then, man, that's a tough matchup. I'm gonna go with Noah, mainly because I think the workout's going to be a dumbbell. I think it's gonna have a dumbbell. It's gonna be something that you could do in your living room. That would be my guess. Something very accessible to everyone. And I think Pat's got some long arms. He's got some long levers to move with the some of those movements. But it'll be really close. But I'm gonna take Noah on this one. Pat's gonna be really upset with me, but that's who I got. Sorry, Pat.
All right. Well, Scott Panchik, thank you so much for taking the time to join our live show. We'll let you go and get ready to do the workout tomorrow. And we can't wait to see what you do this season as a retired athlete.
You got it.
Thanks, Scott.
We'll see you guys.
So it's funny because speaking of the picks, we're actually going to be having Brian Friend on our show later today. And he has so many stats and details to show why he has projected who he thinks is going to win.
I feel like, we say that. It's like, who you got? And it's like, we're just throwing darts at the wall. Meanwhile, Brian Friend's going to come on here in about 40 minutes and like give us some sort of, it's going to be like Alan from The Hangover with the stats going across his face, like precisely to the second without knowing the workout, who's going to win today. And he'll be right.
Right.
So yeah.
He's always right. I wish that I could, get into his brain, but nobody has a brain like him. It's just like it is. If you guys are just joining our show right now, thanks for tuning into the 22.1 live pre-show announcement. For the next about 50 minutes or so, we're going to be bringing in different guests to talk about the Open ahead of the big workout reveal. And then you can watch the live announcement at noon Pacific on the CrossFit Games YouTube page. Joel and I are getting excited. We're trying to figure out what the heck are they going to do this year, but we actually have boots on the ground. He is the CEO and the founder of Morning Chalk Up. He apparently has a Fran time of 3 minutes. Don't have video evidence, so we're not really sure. But when he's not doing CrossFit news, he's climbing mountains. We have Justin LoFranco.
Hey guys, what's going on?
Pictures or it didn't happen, Justin. Yeah, pictures or it didn't happen.
Hey, you know what? I'm always down to Fran. So anybody who wants to challenge me on whether or not I'm dropping into a gym or some random walking down the street, they're welcome to challenge me to a Fran. I'll never say no to a good Fran wad. So
would you love
I'm
if
here
22.1 was Fran?
I actually kind of would, to be honest. Except the thing about CrossFit Open workouts though and Fran is that the thruster pull-up couplet has been used a bunch of times, but it's like a different Fran because it's like Fran repeats, or it's chest to bar, and it's also 100 pounds, not 95. And so it's never really quite Fran. It's like Fran with anger. It's angry Fran or something like that. Yeah.
Friendly Fran.
It's never
actually.
quite a simple 3-minute Fran. Yeah. Not friendly. And it's not 3 minutes and it's not 2 minutes and 25 seconds. It's like the Fran version you have to do ends up being like, if you get it in 3 minutes, you're absolutely elite. Whereas you could find in any given gym, a dozen people easily that can do a 3-ish minute Fran. So open Frans are not very friendly.
Okay, Justin. So you're at the live Open announcement. Yeah. What is the atmosphere like so far?
So I'm here outside because we can't do any broadcasting inside right now.
Knew it. Secrecy.
He
doesn't want to get fired right now or lose the business.
Right. Or kicked out. So effectively, I'm here at CrossFit Media Studio here in Boulder, Colorado. The lay of the land is very similar sort of setup and look to what we've seen in the past when CrossFit has done the production for the Open announcements. They started that back up again last year through the 2021 season, after the 2022 season. It's going to look and feel very similar. It's got a nice intimate crowd. Probably approximately 200 guests have been invited to spectate. Obviously we've got two pairs of really phenomenal athletes who are going to be thrown down in what is a little bit over, I think, 45 minutes or so now. Mm-hmm. It's freezing cold here. They had a blizzard literally roll through yesterday. It's about 14 degrees outside. I suspect a little bit colder than the athletes are used to. There's tons of snow on the ground. I'm hearing a puffy. My hands are freezing cold. You can probably see my breath. And we're also at elevation, which is kind of nice. I think we're at 5,000 or 6,000 feet elevation, something like that, up here in Boulder. Which for these athletes, they'll still make it look ridiculous. For us mere mortals, though, certainly an item that we could use to complain about why we were 80 reps shy of where we thought we should be. So it'll be a factor, I think. But you know, for these guys, they're here to have fun and put on a great show, and they'll of course do that.
So, Justin, we mentioned this talking to Scott and asked him his thoughts on it. You've been inside, so maybe you know the answer, but you probably can't tell us. I'm envisioning this like a political movie where the president leaves and they have like 4 body doubles, so you never actually know which one's the real guy. Like CrossFit has 7 people warming up to announce the workout. Who do you think announces the workout inside today?
Or can you not say because you know?
I don't actually know the answer to that, frankly.
Okay.
If as I like to pretend like I know the answer, I'll answer it as if I do. I think it's going to be Derek. That's my guess. You know, he was doing a lot of work last season. You know, dipping his toe into the CrossFit media landscape, and he had a big presence at the actual games. At 2021 games, so I could see him being the guy to deliver it, but I honestly don't know. It's funny because I was walking in the room and I hadn't really considered it till you asked.
So it's not you.
Actually, I don't know that because they can hand me a card and be like, "Hey,
constantly
Justin, why don't you
varied.
go out there and deliver it." Constantly varied, indeed.
You literally never know.
One could say that about CrossFit over the last 24 months. Constantly varied.
So, I mean, last year we had the live announcements back, but they were that virtual monitor with the studio audience. What do you think it's going to be like having a group of fans in the atmosphere as the athletes are throwing down? Are you seeing people start to arrive, or what's that been like?
Yeah, the room has got about, I would say, sort of 75 to 100 people in there right now. It's going to be a fairly intimate environment. This is the first actual CrossFit produced open announcement that I've attended. However, I have been to a number of different open announcements during when CrossFit was opening it up to other producers during the 2019 and 2020 seasons. And so this is going to feel intimate, but very fun. And CrossFit has this culture, has fostered very intimate scenes in the past. Big crowds make it a little bit more challenging logistically for them to do things. This one's at CrossFit Media Studio, which is not a massive space. They don't have even if they were to build risers, they couldn't get more than a couple of hundred people in here, as well as the production crew and the staff and the photographers and the videographers and the live stream team. They need to have that. So they take up quite a bit of space. So even in here, think of this as a regular sized gym, and then you have to dedicate half of that space to production staff, etc. And so it really only can fit about 200 people inside of here. So it's going to be fairly intimate. I suspect, though, that depending on the exact locations of the Ohio and Tennessee events, they can fit a little bit more. So it tends to be a bit space dependent. And this is not also an affiliate, which you have to remember. There are obviously affiliates in this neighborhood. There's CrossFit Roots, CrossFit Sanitas, which is Rose's gym that he formerly owned, and so there's a strong affiliate community in the neighborhood. But when they host it at affiliate, it tends to be a much bigger affair because they're going to bring in everybody who's a member of the affiliate first, and then open it up to the broader community. So there are people in there. They're hanging out. They're excited. There's an embargo on all video and photo from inside of the room until after the thing is done. So you won't see anything leak out from me, but there's a bunch of people there eager to start taking photos and video and stuff of what's going on.
It's way too early in the season for you to get in trouble, Justin. Way too early.
No,
Justin.
No, it's not.
The day is young.
Yeah, right. Journalistic question for you, Justin. You said there were about 200 people inside that had received invitations. Who are the people that get to go to this workout announcement, and how did they get selected?
Yeah, so my suspicion here, based off of what I've gathered, is that because it's at the media studio. This is actually at CrossFit's media studio, not at a gym. It's at CrossFit tends to probably keep this a little bit more intimate. I imagine the affiliate owners from the local gyms in the Denver area, they tend to reach out. Based off what I've gathered in the past from talking to other people, they reach out to the local communities and extend offerings, and then it's kind of like a +1. Well, you do that, And then you let riffraff in like me, and all of a sudden you're at capacity, right? So they allowed people to have a +1, for a spouse, significant other, somebody else that wanted to join too. And this is kind of an exclusive elite sort of event. And most people don't ever really get a chance to go to them, and they fill up pretty quick. So to say that you got to know somebody or be an affiliate owner is probably the truth. It's either that or it has to be one of the bigger produced events where, when Reebok did 20.5, you could get inside of there, and there was a space for several hundred people to be in the crowd.
Did you bring a +1?
No, I did not. In my heart, I did. I brought all of you as my +1s.
Thank you.
But no, I'm flying solo today, as I also woke up at 3 a.m. to drive to the airport. So nobody was up for me to take along the way.
Well, we're glad you got there in one piece. I have to ask though, the live announcements are back, but let's get the elephant in the room out of the room. Somebody who's not back is Dave Castro. He has been a staple in announcing the workouts. Right now, we're even trying to guess like who could be announcing the workouts today. But can you feel a difference when it comes to that specifically?
No, not really, to be honest. And to be fair, I'd never actually been inside of any of the ones that were produced by CrossFit. It was only the ones that were produced by, during the 2 seasons that were being held by outside organizers. Honestly, when I was walking in the room, I saw a lot of the same familiar faces that I've seen doing production work for CrossFit for the last several years. A lot of the same guys, on the back end, a lot of the same photographers and videographers. So that crew, the continuity of that crew and their capabilities of putting on a show and continuing to do that operation, that's the same guys that are here. I think there was a level of theatrics and just flair that Dave brought to the equation. That was, so you embrace the villain of CrossFit, the guy that you love to hate because he's always out there doing something odd and interesting, and it was a fun little talking point and sort of a rallying moment for the CrossFit community to kind of, what's Dave going to concoct up and stuff like that. But there doesn't really seem CrossFit organizationally and from a production element hasn't missed a beat in any which way. And I'm very confident that what they're going to do today is going to be on par with the best of what they produced over the last several years. Just having had a peek inside already and what they've got set up technologically and how the thing looks and everything, I think it's going to look excellent.
Awesome. Well, Justin, it's great to have you boots on the ground, giving us somewhat of an inside peek. No videos or pictures leaked yet. We'll be making sure you don't get in any trouble.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm going to now go back inside and hopefully warm up a little bit. Yeah, we'll be bringing you hopefully some cool photos of what's going on. I have plans to take some pictures, and yeah, can't wait to see us for T-minus 37 minutes, I think, right now until we find out what the workout is. So get your engine started, get that body mobilized. It's gonna be fun.
We can't wait, Justin. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. See you later. Bye.
See ya.
Bye. Oh, man. Okay, Joel, we got to head over to the chat section right now. I'm going to pull this one up.
Yes.
Let's see what do you think about this?
0.
Andrew says his guess is a 15-minute AMRAP of Fran. Are you going to do that one tonight?
Now, I'm going to tell him myself here. A 15-minute AMRAP of Fran, for me, is not far off from Fran. It's basically Fran twice. So honestly, kind of been there.
Bring it on. It's fine. It's just a normal day of Fran.
If we were doing Annie, I'd be in and out and we'd call it a day. We're doing Fran, 15 minutes, not that far off. So honestly, been there. We got to come harder.
Yeah, I just absolutely loved that one. I had to pull it up, but it's quite the guess on there.
You know what is interesting though, and I had forgotten about it, and someone just texted me about it. Did you see the Wordle clue that CrossFit had put out?
I did, and so many people were guessing like burpees or triplet, but there was no E.
Well, yeah, the second, what the word had to start with E. And that's why I was trying to figure out, like, what could that be? That's what the thing that threw me for a loop.
Honestly, I'm never really good at those word games. When they were in the newspaper as a kid, my grandfather would get them,
Yeah.
and I would always like look over his shoulder, and he'd be so stinking good at them,
Yeah.
and he'd be like, "Oh, do you want to try?" And I'm like, "Nope, nope. Let's flip to the comics."
Today's word is bloke, by the way. So listen, it's
Oh.
it's 2:30 on the East Coast. You had time. That's your fault. You should have done it already.
Yeah. Oh,
Just
we
got a
have
lot of
some
people
other
angry.
ones.
7 minutes in heaven of burpee box jump overs. Now that would be interesting
Oh,
because
where's
that
that
would
one?
be.
Here
We
we go.
talked about, this was Elias. We talked about like repeats on steroids. That would be a repeat on
Yes,
steroids.
yes. That would be the evolution of repeats. Ooh, that one. Yep, looks gross. Ooh, we have another one here. Ty says handstand push-ups and toes to rings. I really like toes to rings, to be honest. I don't
Yeah.
think that we'll see them, but
Yeah.
oh, I don't love this.
I got it wrong, by the way. Somebody called me out on the Wordle. The E was yellow, so it's in a different place. It didn't. I do play Wordle. I'm on a 22-day streak. But yeah, I made a mistake, people. There is an E in that word. It's not the first letter.
Okay. What do you think about J squared 100 wall walks for time?
I would quit CrossFit.
Just done. Just done. Okay. Anyways, if you guys are just joining us right now, or tuned in halfway through some of our interviews, we do want to let you know that we will be on this 22-point live pre-show announcement until the live announcement. So a little under 30 minutes now. We're going to be bringing on different guests ahead of the open and the announcement. We're having some fun with it, trying to guess what the workout could be. But our next guest that we're going to bring on, you will recognize him because he's been in the CrossFit space, especially the CrossFit news space, for some time. He's a familiar face. Please welcome Armen Hammer.
Hey, what's going on, folks?
How we doing?
Oh, it's so great to see you.
Yeah, likewise. It's really nice. I haven't been doing this for a minute. Did I miss anything? Has anything happened while I've been gone, or
nothing
what?
big has happened in the past year.
Yeah, I've been listening to you go through the chat, the suggestions on chat, and I just have to say, if 100 wall walks for time shows up, I'm not going to look much different than I did for last year's wall walk workout, just face down on the ground, hoping for it to end at some point.
My favorite is the napping position where your arms are out in the Superman and your head is just on the ground. Someone bring me a towel and some water. I'm just going to lay here.
Yep. Oh yeah. I was so caught off guard by that workout and got so demolished by how challenging those wall walks were. And like many other people, I imagine, I haven't done a single one since. So.
Oh, so that would not be a great workout for you to kick off the 2022 open season.
Yeah, I'm not hoping for wall walks. I'll tell you that right now. I'm definitely not hoping for wall walks.
What are you hoping for? And like I joked at the beginning, like we all play this speculation game, but like people may not know this. They tell you the workout if you're just patient enough. But what has been your speculation in your mind as you've kind of sat back and looked at what they've told us so far and kind of tried to make some guesstimations of where this could go?
Yeah, I agree with Scott that I think we're going to see a dumbbell. I think that's about as far as I'm willing to tread into the fog of war when it comes to these open suggestions, because generally I've had a pretty good track record of seeing what's available in terms of the equipment and seeing what has happened in the past and guessing. And we know there's a couple things that, we've seen in terms of trends. Dave's programming, he loves to put snatches and burpees together, whether that's dumbbell snatches and burpees over a box, whether that's barbell snatches and burpees over the bar. I mean, he just loves putting that snatch and burpee combination together. We've seen a lot of combinations that are some sort of lower body movement plus an ascending barbell. So we had the step ups and pistols workout with the ever heavier clean and jerks. We've seen the double under toes to bar combo with the ever heavier squat cleans. We're kind of in a weird place now because once the workouts are released, like we don't really know whether they're the same workouts that Dave may have programmed previously or whether they're going to be tweaked or changed. And the prediction is based off of past performance, so you can't really guess if you don't know exactly who's going to be the one who's the mastermind behind the workouts or the person who wrote the workouts. So I'm going to go out on a limb here and I'm going to say dumbbells in week 1. And that's about as far as I'm willing to go in terms of guessing.
And we know just one dumbbell this year from the equipment list.
That's right.
So that
that's
makes
right.
it
And
a
that,
little bit nicer.
that does limit some of the things that we've seen in the past. We've seen double dumbbells with the squats. We've seen it with lunges.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen it with the power cleans, which are curls, and everyone loves good curls. But the single dumbbell has also made a pretty big splash. I mean, when it first showed up in the open, we saw the dumbbell snatches. We've seen the overhead lunges, I believe, with the dumbbell as well. I mean, the dumbbell is a very versatile tool, and one way that it can be used, for example, is a burpee over a dumbbell, and that's maybe a difficult judging metric, something more challenging than burpee over a box or burpee over a barbell, but it is an option that we haven't seen in the open before and could show up in terms of just a little wrinkle. And whether Dave's doing the programming or whether the programming was sort of revamped after his departure, wrinkles are just a big part of the open.
What do you think, Armen, when it comes to kind of the evolution over the years of the open, especially when we're looking at the second year of in a row, we have the RX scaled, and then also the foundations division that people can participate in the open?
I love it. I think the open should have, just the more divisions that you can slice out of the open, the better the open is going to be, because for nearly everyone who's even interested in participating in the open, nearly everyone in our community, the open is essentially just a yearly benchmark for us to put a little bit of skin in the game, participate in our local affiliate, participate in our community, be a part of something that takes us out of our comfort zone. And that's a really beautiful function for the open. That's a really beautiful thing for our communities and our affiliates. And the more that you can sort of slice it out, the more you're going to see people see themselves within those divisions. It doesn't necessarily need to be RX or bust, which is what it was when the open first came out in 2011. I mean, it was just RX or bust. Like, this is what you've got. And they introduced the scales and then finally introduced the foundations workouts. And I think these are all variations that don't necessarily make it easier, because I think last year we saw the at-home version of the workouts, the no equipment version of the workouts had freestanding shoulder taps in the handstand. I mean, that's crazy. They didn't even program that up through the games. That's a wild skill to be able to develop and throw into the open. And I enjoy seeing all these different variations. So to me, it's just the more the merrier. If we can get more and more divisions that people can sort of identify with and participate with. I mean, I think they've kind of touched on it a little bit with the ability for people to make their own leaderboards. You can do like the hashtag, CrossFit dad or CrossFit mom or firefighter or law enforcement. And all of these are really good ways of doing it. And I would love to see them be able to continue that and fostering that, because that's really what it's all about for almost every single one of us who's doing the open.
When it comes to the announcements themselves, Armen, the return of the live announcement and the CrossFit produced live announcement, how just geeked are you for what that means 20 minutes from now, about when that kicks off, 25 minutes from now, and then what the future of that looks like potentially as you continue to, I don't want to say professionalize, but like sportify the sport of CrossFit?
I love the word sportify. I think
just came
sounds like a great app.
Yeah.
It's like, it should just be an app that you log into and it makes you into more of like a professional organization or a sport or something. I love the live announcements. I think the announcements in general, the announcements weren't always live. I think people who haven't been around as long as we have don't necessarily know that that's the case. I mean, in 2011 and 2012, the announcements were pre-recorded. So CrossFit would bring in athletes. They would film them doing these workouts. They would make a short little video about, here's what the workout is. Here's some tips. Here's the best people in the world taking it on. it was only in 2013 that we saw the very first of the live announcements. And the the evolution of the live announcements has kind of tracked along with the evolution of the sport in being an entertainment product and a sports product that fits within the entertainment and sports landscape that a lot of us participate in for fun on the weekends or during the week when we're watching one of the big four sports or something else that's a little more niche. And I think that the community and the organizers who took on the mantle of doing the live announcements did an exceptionally good job when it was their task, because they really weren't given all the resources that CrossFit had. They weren't given the directives from the top down that CrossFit might have used when they were producing their media. They were essentially given this task, and it was a really large task for them to be able to put it on. I was a part of a couple of those live announcements. I'm very proud that I was a part of those couple of live announcements. 19.5 in Ireland, that was awesome. 20.5 in Boston, that was awesome. I mean, these are really, really great experiences that I had. And I don't think it's necessarily about CrossFit re-establishing their sport as their vision and their media, because I think that those outside organizers did a really good job of carrying the torch. But at the end of the day, CrossFit does have their specific vision, and they have their team, and they have their way of doing things. And a more cohesive, coherent, understandable season, start to finish, begins with them having control of how the Open is announced. And I think it's going to be really exciting to see, regardless of what the workout is announced, regardless of how they end up, reformatting the Open this year without necessarily having a figurehead like Dave there to sort of kick it off. I'm really interested to see how they end up revamping this sort of storied tradition within our sport for a more modern side of CrossFit as a company and as an organization and as a sport.
Why do you think having these announcements live in person is so important for the sport and even the community, Armen?
The live experience of everyone tuning in at the same time to experience the same dread and to feel the same emotions, to have their watch party, whether it's in person with a group of friends or at their affiliate or, over text, oh my God, did you see that? Or, wow, I can't believe they're doing this movement. Or they would rib their buddies like, you haven't been training these, like you should have been doing wall walks in the off season, right? So that type of experience is it's fuel to the fire of what makes the CrossFit community tick. It just brings people together into something that we can all share, something that we can all feel a way about, whether it's a really positive, oh my God, I'm so excited, this is my first Open, I want to get toes to bar for the first time, or it's, I've been doing this for 12 years, I'm just going to be so sore and so stressed out over the next 3 weeks, whatever that feeling ends up being. It brings people together. And the fact that you can kind of put a button on it where everyone tunes into this one moment where it ends up just starting off that spark and kicking off this new season, I think it's just a really special, magical thing. And on top of that, we've seen some great moments in the Open. I mean, those Open announcements tend to be really exciting, really fun to watch. Cool stuff happens. The performances tend to be just stratospheric. I mean, it's just out of nowhere. Sometimes some of the best performances in the world happen right on the spot when these athletes are told, hey, guess what? This is what you're doing, and you have 15 minutes to warm up. And those are just, the fan inside of me loves to see that.
Real quick, when you look at, you talked about getting toes to bar for the first time in the Open. And I'm just curious, as you're somebody that's in the CrossFit media space, and you've been an affiliate owner. So you've got a handful of different perspectives on this. And maybe I'm a contrarian in this line of thinking, but I've always approached the Open as like, here is a benchmark for where I am at with my fitness. And if there are ring muscle ups, like, can I do ring muscle ups? Yeah, like it's going to take me a while. I'm not going to be able to string a ton of them together. I got bar muscle ups in class, like in skill work. I didn't get my first one in the Open. What's the approach that you take going into the Open in terms of telling people how they should attack these workouts based on what their current skill level is? And like, hey, you don't have muscle ups, so maybe scale the workout, crush it, finish it, get a great stimulus, versus do 15 burpees and then stare at the bar and maybe do it not the right way, and maybe you wind up hurting yourself, but maybe you get your first muscle up?
I think that's a really good question, and I think that's something that's going to be answered very specifically, affiliate to affiliate, coach to athlete. I think for me, for example, we had, as someone who was on the floor coaching my members, when someone is just right there, that they have the capacity, like they have the upper body strength, they have the dexterity, they have the skill, they just haven't quite gotten their muscle up for the first time. And that when that workout comes up and it's double unders and wall ball and your muscle ups, that they're probably going to get to the rings and they're going to stand there and stare at them for a few minutes. And the advice that I would give those athletes who I knew were right on the cusp, I would tell them, your job is to get to those rings with as much time as you can and get like 3 good shots, because that's pretty much all you've got in you. So if you're going for your very first of whatever it ends up being, right, the extreme end will be something like a muscle up, which is very quickly, it deteriorates. You start running out of bullets super fast. Toes to bar, you can kind of give it more shots because it's less of that full body, upper body explosiveness. Handstand push-ups, same deal, somewhere in between that spectrum. You want to give yourself the opportunity to have a good few shots to it. The other side of that, though, is that there's a lot of athletes who their participation in the open isn't necessarily about breaking a plateau or breaking through something that they haven't done before. It's about them being able to just put some skin in the game, participate in their community, and get after it. And for those athletes, the best thing that they could do is find the right scale for themselves, whether that means they're scaling the workout slightly past where they might usually put it in their regular day-to-day class, or making it slightly simpler so that they can actually get themselves going more aggressively. And then, the end result is going to be different. Sometimes you have people who are like, you know what, I'm primed conditioning wise to actually take on this movement. But at the end of the day, I kind of want to try my hand at handstand walks, whatever, right? Whatever that movement ends up being. And that's okay. That's completely okay. I think it's very much the beauty of the open that you get to pick how you're going to approach it and how you're going to prioritize it, because it is a personal benchmark about what it is you've got going on that part of the year.
Well, Armen, it's been so great to have you on the show. A lot of great insight ahead of the open announcement. Now, we're just about 15 minutes away.
It's my pleasure, guys. Thank you so much for having me. Good luck to all the athletes. Good luck to everyone participating. And I hope you guys have a good time.
Thanks, Armen.
You too, Armen. Thanks.
Take care.
All right. Boop, 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 boop. We have breaking news. Are you ready for this?
What is it?
Okay. Breaking news just in. Who will be announcing the workout today? It's an athlete. I'm going to give you 3 guesses, Joel.
Somebody is in the comments, so it's Tia Claire Toomey.
Oh, come on. The build up.
I mean, that was my first guess, and I was not cheating at all.
Man, the dang comments.
That's
They
cool.
They broke the news for us. But yeah, she's going to be doing it remotely from Nashville. Okay. So, I mean, I think that definitely adds something that people will be excited to see for the open announcements to kick off the season.
Countdown 3, 2, 1 to one person going, but she knew the workout in advance and she's already done it once. There's going to be at least one. You know who you are. No, that's cool. Obviously, one of the most recognizable faces in the sport. Trusted. I think the idea of like trust, like there was a certain segment of the community that, hey, how are they going to handle who's announcing the workout? And like, ultimately, there's a lot of people that can do that. Like if it was Boz, if it was Chuck, my under the radar pick was Chase Ingram, like any of those people, like they're just announcing a workout, guys. But there is a piece to that makes you feel good about what you're doing and what you're involved in. And obviously you pick, male or female, the single greatest person to ever do this all time. Not a bad spot. And it makes it interesting for the next 2 weeks, because now you're thinking, who's going to do week 2? Who's going to do week 3?
Well, and it can't be Justin Medeiros because he's doing the workout next week. So people can start speculating and thinking who could be doing the next workout. But if you're just joining us right now, welcome to the 22.1 live pre-show announcement. We have about 15 minutes until we're all going to head over to the CrossFit YouTube page to see what we will be taking on for 22.1. But before we get to that, we have our final guest. He is the man that has a brain full of CrossFit knowledge. It's unmatched. He knows every athlete's stat, whether it's in the top of his head or in one of his many, many Google spreadsheets. Let's welcome Brian Friend.
Oh, what an intro. Thank you, Lauren.
Did you love that introduction?
Yeah, it's very good for live. It's that way you have to get it right. You can't screw it up like you usually do when we record behind the scenes.
Wow.
Shots
Wow.
already fired. Like, wait. We got to start over. I'm better live, Brian. I'm sorry.
Wow.
No, you're always great. You're always great.
It's fine. Brian and I go way back. He actually judged was that 2018 Open?
Yeah, it was the workout with all the double unders, hundreds of double unders.
Yes.
Good on you,
yes.
Brian. That's not easy.
No, it wasn't
No.
easy because I had to watch her flailing attempts at ring muscle ups.
Oh, wow.
Man, come on. This is the last time I invite you on my show, Brian.
However, she was one of those athletes that Armen was talking about, and she had some ring muscle ups, but they weren't easy for her, and she fought through them and got quite a few.
Thank you. And now I can't wait to beat you in the Open.
Yeah. Again.
Again and again and again.
Mm-hmm.
But Brian, we're talking about business now because we have about 15 minutes until the Open announcement. We want to get through all of the knowledge that's in your head. Let's first talk about the people who are throwing down for the 22.1 announcement. Any, predictions right off the bat? I know that you have some kind of spreadsheet for this one. Who's going to win?
Yeah, no, it's a great comparison and battle actually on both sides. I mean, on paper, obviously, Pat Vellner versus Noah Olson looks really good, and Bethany Shammer, Danielle Brandon, the same. But when you break down the numbers, it's actually kind of uncanny. So for the men, I went back to 2016, which I considered to be the first year that Vellner was really relevant as a competitor in the space. And over that time, there have been 30 open workouts. And Noah has beaten Pat 16 times, and Pat's beaten Noah 14 times. So it's almost a dead heat. And then for the women, I went back to 2018, which was the first year that I thought Danielle Brandon was kind of actually giving it a good go. And they've done 20 workouts, and Bethany's beaten her 11 times, and Danielle's beaten her 9 times. So it's almost an even coin flip on both of them, and you don't necessarily get that at every Open announcement. So it's really hard to call. And so for there, I went for like week 1 Open workouts because that's the only workout they're doing. And anyone who's done the Open for many years knows that in general, the week 1 Open workout is different than the last week Open workout, for example, in terms of complexity and skills and things that are required to complete it. But they're about even there too. And so it's pretty difficult to call between these guys. I would say if I was going to give an edge to one or the other, I would probably nod towards Vellner and Danielle based on more recent trends, because even though they have kind of, even you can see here for the guys that in the week 1 workouts, Pat's taken 4 of the 6 against Noah. However, you can kind of throw out the 2019 one, which was the wall balls and rowing, because it's very different than any other Open workout we've ever had on week 1, and neither of those implements will be there this year. So I'll take Vellner over Olson today, and Brandon over Daniel over Shadburn.
What did you think, Brian, in terms of you talked about not having wall balls and not having rowers? What did you think about not having, I guess in particular, those 2 things in terms of ways that you can start to get athletes' stimulus is up? I mean, burpees are obviously still on the table. There is a jump rope involved. But what are the types of things you're looking at that really get that heart moving that we could see today or that we could see over the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, when you're talking about the general monostructural implements that you'd like to see in a workout, and over the test of 3 or 4, tests over 3 weeks, you'd like to see, some kind of running, rowing, biking, ski. Well, all those things are out because someone I saw was suggesting shuttle runs, but there's also no space listed as needed. So you can't traverse any distance on your hands or your feet based on the equipment list. But mostly I think it was just a mistake not to include them on the potential list of items, even if you're not going to have them from a business perspective. Because I can almost guarantee that there's somewhere between 1,000 and 5,000 men that are 6'3" that are like, well, I had one chance and it was a rowing wall ball workout and I'm not getting either of those. So I'm not giving you my $20. And if you want to get maximum participation, you just lost a huge demographic.
I thought you were going to say because somebody was going to go out and buy a rower, and now they're not going to.
No, and I understand it because of accessibility, and they want to have the ability for people to do it in their own space. And they've even provided a different way to enter a score or have a credentialed judge validate your score in your own garage, etc. But I mean, everyone is expecting rowing and wall ball to be like, that's not an unexpected movement or item if it was included on the list. So I don't know. I would have included it even if they're not there. Plus, I do think it, to your question originally, that it limits the monostructural things you can test. I think, one thing that they've never had in the open, I don't think, is an air squat. That can obviously get the heart rate up and be a little bit more aerobic, but it's very difficult to judge.
I don't want to see air squats for time.
Do you think? Do you think we get a dumbbell today? Because that's been the prevailing sentiment from everyone so far.
Yeah, and I'm not really sure why. I mean, the last time we had a dumbbell in the first week of the Open was 2018, and I think other than that, in 2017, those are the 2 years. And so, but in general, over the course of the history of week ones, as you see here, there's only 11 movements that we've ever used. 2 of them we can't use, so that only leaves 9, and 5 of those have showed up multiple times. So I would lean more towards something that's very low barrier to entry. I think there's plenty of stuff they can do with the dumbbell in weeks 2 or 3. If I was going to guess 1 week to see a dumbbell, I probably wouldn't choose week 1.
When you think of these athletes throwing down, what do you want to see them going head to head with? Just like knowing these athletes.
Yeah, I mean, there are certain things that I think would be, well, I don't think they'd ever have a heavy lifting test. So I don't, in the first week. Oh, they did actually in 2015. I would be interested to see them lift heavy. These 4 athletes in particular, because I think that on a given day, just depending on how they're feeling and how things are firing, that either one actually could outperform the other. And you might not think that's the case, but Noah did outlift Vellner in the complex last year by 15, 16 pounds, something like that. So a heavy lift would be kind of cool to see. So those have always also been kind of fun open workouts. Armen was talking about like some of the good moments, and those always, everyone loves to see that. So I would say this is a pretty good group of athletes to see some heavy lifting.
Scott talked a little bit about the breakdown of the guys today, but we didn't dive into a whole lot of the ladies matchup. And I know you said it's about 50-50 when they've competed on the floor at the same time, but that also negates the fact that they compete on the same floor all of the time. They are literally trading against each other.
Yeah.
Handicap what a head-to-head Bethany Shadburn, Danielle Brandon matchup looks to you in your eyes.
Yeah, it's certainly, it's one of those things I think a lot of professional athletes that are doing these training camps are asking themselves, how often do you actually want to have a throwdown against someone that you see every day? And what's the potential fallout of that in the long term if you do it too often? So I don't know how often they actually go head to head in their workouts. They also have the advantage of having a lot of other really good athletes in that space. So, Justin Kotler may be conscientious of that and not have them go head to head too often. Both of them have had ups and downs since the games, or really since semifinals, in terms of injury and illness. And I don't think we've actually seen them compete together at all during that time span. When Danielle was on the floor, Bethany was off, and when Bethany competed,
West Coast.
Since West Coast.
Oh, yeah.
So it'll be the first time that they have like a formal environment to do a competition like this in a setting that's not their gym in Vegas. And I think they'll have fun. But, the thing that's so crazy, and you guys know this about these athletes too, is they're like these incredibly nice, friendly people off the floor. And as soon as the 3, 2, 1 go starts, all they want to do is beat the person next to them. So
especially those two. Yeah.
And and so I think that what you'll see, regardless of what it is and regardless of who ends up winning, is once they enter the workout, it's going to be game faces on, and both will be trying to win. And as soon as it ends, they'll just be, friendly and hugging each other and happy.
Is it going to be an AMRAP or for time?
That's a good question. Almost always, up until 2 years ago, the first workout was an AMRAP. 8 out of 9 years from 2011 to 2019 were AMRAPs, with the exception being 2017. But then the last 2 years were 4-time workouts. The other thing that's notable is over the last 6 years, 3 of the workouts have been either 15-minute AMRAPs or 15-minute time caps, and the other 3 have been 20-minute AMRAPs or 20-minute time caps. So if I was favoring recent history, I would go for a 4-time workout that's about 15 minutes long.
Do you think that the year 22 is going to play a factor, whether it's week 1, 2, or 3? I even think about next week, 22.2. Do you think we're going to be seeing any numbers like that?
I don't know. I mean, the one thing that that comes to mind when you ask that is the AMRAP in 19.1. There was 19 wall balls and 19 calories rower, but it was only a 15-minute AMRAP, which kind of I think bothered everyone who likes numbers or is a little OCD. I don't necessarily think that the 22 will factor in this week. If 1 week, I would agree with you, it'd be in the second week, but I don't think it was one of the top criteria when programming these workouts.
I have one more question. I know we're running short on time, but Brian, I want to use your encyclopedic knowledge of the field here going into the Open, because I know you handicapped your top 10 power rankings on the men's and women's side. And I looked at it and I was like, okay, we got some interesting names here. Who would be a dark horse that wouldn't be in these top 10? And I was like, but let's go deeper. I'm trying to think of dark horses that you don't know I don't know who this person is. Is there someone you've come across statistically that before the Open this year, you are sitting on thinking, everybody watch, this person's going to show up somewhere, but we don't know who this person is yet?
Okay, well, I'm going to give you a name that I doubt you've heard that actually, I just want to make sure I get this right. I think she had 2 top 15 finishes in the Open last year, but her other 2 finishes were really, really bad. And she's a French woman named Alizé Andriani. And she finished 11th in 21.1, 7th in 21.3, but she took 4,000 something in 21.4. So she wasn't significant.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is probably someone that very, very few have heard her name, because she hasn't really made any impact in the season going forward from there. But 2 top 11s in the Open workout of 4 workouts last year is pretty impressive. So maybe someone like her on a very aerobic cardio, low weight style workout.
Brian Friend, when are you doing the workout?
About 24 hours from now.
All right. Well, good luck. I can't wait to beat you. Thank you for bringing your knowledge onto the show, though.
You're the top of the Morning Chalk Power Rankings for a reason, Lauren. I will not dispute.
I do really cherish that because you have the knowledge, you have the facts. Brian, as always, great to have you here.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Brian.
Man, Joel, we have 3 minutes.
I'm geeked.
I'm geeking out. I have so much in my brain right now that's just ready to explode as we watch it.
So here's the next, I guess maybe this is the final overarching question. You said we have 3 minutes, but do we have 3 minutes? How long are they going to let us or make us wait into this show before they actually reveal this thing?
I know. And the thing is, now that we know that Tia is the one that's going to be announcing the workout, I can't see her dragging it out. I feel like she's somebody who just is going to cut to the chase. She's going to tell you what we need to know. Her handwriting on the whiteboard is going to be flawless, and we're going to know what to expect, or we're going to know what to do once she writes it.
I could also see the sense of humor, though, of her just dragging it out as long as possible.
Which would also be entertaining, just for the purposes of the CrossFit Open announcements.
As I told you at the beginning, I don't speculate because if I'm patient enough, they tell me. But I am the patience is thin because I know we're coming up on it. So
the patience is thin. I'm getting ready. I'm gonna do my Open attempt. I'm pretty sure tomorrow. I don't know that I can wait until Saturday.
No, not in the slightest. But I do like Scott Panchik told us that at his gym they're doing it Saturday open house, I think is what he called it.
Saturday
which is a
open
different
house.
way to do it. And it's kind of cool because then you can take Friday programming at the gym in terms of what's a good setup or an active recovery or an active warm up. It's actually an interesting
or a walkthrough. Yeah,
right.
It's a good way. Maybe some other gyms do that too. I know my gym and your gym too. We program it on Friday and then Monday as well, and have a part B workout if you don't want to retest or you've already done the workout. So many different ways that we can do it.
Or if you're a slacker like me and you haven't done it at all and it's Monday and you have to do the workout.
You just wait. Well, Joel, this was so much fun. Thanks for doing the pre-show with us for the Morning Chalk Up. We hope to see you guys in the next 2 weeks before the live Open announcement. We're going to head over to the CrossFit YouTube page now because we want to watch the announcement. But thanks for joining us.
My pleasure, and looking forward to seeing you back here as we go